viewers, and welcome to La Jornada Juvenil de Reconocimiento y Dignidad Humana. We hope this to be a constructive experience for all of you. This event is made according to the mission of the Center of Recognition of Human Dignity and the Development of Education Sustainability by the School of Humanities and Education.
The main purpose of the center is to strengthen and consolidate ourselves as human beings, also to make this an inclusive university. We have to respect diversity and promote plurality, and dialogue.
Before starting, we want to give the recognition to three admirable and important women that are with us today. First of all, we would like to make a mention to Lilia Batis Hurtada, Coordinator of Gender and Safe Community Office, Raquel Duran Valenzuela, Coordinator of the CRDH Attention Office.
And last, but of course not least, we want to thank Master Monica Martinez because she was the one to organize this section of Tech Talks, and thank you for all the hard work. Okay, now let's begin with the panelists. We are fortunate to have a group of extremely gifted students presenting here today who have taken up the challenge to expose these problematics and talk about it.
We're also live on social media, so don't forget to send us your questions, confirming the TED Talks pass.
After 5 TED Talks, we are going to answer them and successfully.
As our first opponents, we have two impressive women from the School of Engineering. So please welcome Wendy Akari Hernandez from Industrial Engineering and Ana Sofia Mayen from Biotechnology Engineering.
Good morning. How are you? My name is Sofia. That's what I just sang in Mexican Sign Language. And today we're going to talk to you about breaking barriers through inclusion.
And my name is Wendy.
Okay, so first let me tell you a story. One day, as I was driving to my house, I had to stop because there was a red light. And I saw this man with a written sign that said, "Hi, my name is Roberto. I'm looking for a job, but I am currently unemployed because no one wants to hire me because I'm deaf." In this moment, all I wanted to do was to communicate with him. But unfortunately, I do not know enough sign language to have a fluent conversation. And that made me feel awful because that got me thinking that there are a lot of people just like me that don't know how to communicate with deaf people. And that is what put Roberto and many others in this situation.
That is why we came up with breaking barriers through inclusion, because it is the best solution in order to start promoting an inclusive campus, as it raises awareness among students about the issues and difficulties deaf people face on a daily basis. Not only that, but it also promotes a step-by-step plan in order to start implementing sign language. This is why we want to talk about a topic of great importance, as it has the power to completely reshape and change the landscape of not only our educational institutions, but our society as a whole. I'm talking about inclusion, and in particular, the transformative power of sign language.
Okay, so inclusion is not just a catchphrase, but a value that has to be deeply engraved in our society. That is why we believe that by promoting an inclusive campus where everyone, regardless their disabilities, feel equally empowered and valued, because inclusion is not just a worthy goal, but a vitally important one.
In our pursuit of promoting inclusivity, one of the most important aspects is bringing awareness about the challenges deaf people face. Shockingly, in a report made by Aristegui Noticias, only 30% of deaf people in Mexico have jobs. This shocking statistic sheds light on the constant and uphill battle deaf people face in order to be able to sustain a job and even support their families. Moreover, on a study made by Vive, which is an organization that promotes inclusivity, found out that only 5% of disabled people in Mexico are able to have had access to higher education. With this shocking and upsetting data, we're able to see the inequalities on not only opportunities in education, but also in employment. Neglecting inclusivity means perpetuating these inequalities.
We also believe that we have a lack of participation of deaf people in our community. Actually, in the website of Tecnológico de Monterrey, we call ourselves as an inclusive community, as an inclusive campus. But this is just partly true. Why? Because, yeah, we're inclusive with some topics such as gender, sexual preferences, maybe some physical disabilities, but we are leaving out deaf people and even blind people, which is a bad thing.
This lack of participation has a number of negative consequences. For example, it means that deaf students are missing out on the opportunity on interacting with and learning from other deaf students. Not only that, it also means that we are missing out on the experiences and unique perspectives of deaf students to enrich our community.
This is why we think breaking barriers for inclusion, it's a very important project because we are going to help raise awareness of this problem, tell students, our community, that this problem is real, that is happening in our country right now and in many other countries, and what are the consequences if we don't act to do something about it, as well as have a plan so we as a community can learn in Mexican Sign Language so we can use it in our campus, but also outside our campus to communicate with all the deaf people. A part of this, we want to have a new plan so we can open the doors to these deaf people as students. We want to have them as students here in our campus. We will be one of the first schools in Mexico that does this, of course, inspired by a pioneer that is the Tecnológico of Toluca, who were the first ones to open an engineering program for deaf students, with now more students of computer science and engineering.
According to INEGI, 13% of Mexico's cities and the state of Mexico's population combined is deaf. This means that 500,000 people could have the opportunity to complete their education, be part of our society, and have a positive impact and change our community. This is why we believe that it is our responsibility to create an inclusive campus for people with this disability. And we can do this with the following proposals. Our first proposal plans to help bring awareness about, because according to Youth Do It, raising awareness is very powerful, as it teaches people about new topics and also encourages them to bring positive change. This is why we want to begin with this amazing new journey by giving talks and conferences, because it will help to bring a more deep perspective on the challenges deaf people face on a daily basis.
Okay, so we want to talk about those topics in a new course that we want to open apart from QPR and Testigo Activo so that we can raise this awareness, as well as to encourage our community to learn Mexican Sign Language.
As these courses are already mandatory for the students, it's very easy to implement it. And we already have some ideas of the issues and topics that should be addressed and talked about. For example, teaching them the alphabet in Lengua de Señas Mexicana, or having a deaf person come in and talk about their experiences through an interpreter, or even interviewing and asking questions to the interpreter about their experiences and how it is learning Mexican Sign Language, or how it is working with a deaf person.
Our next proposal is about taking action to making this campus truly inclusive. We want to start by opening some courses in the Department of Life, especially in the Department of Art and Culture, so students can enroll in these courses to learn Mexican Sign Language. Besides this proposal, we want to really have students, deaf students here in our campus, and we based this project on what Tecnológico of Toluca did, which was first to define a program. In our case, we would like to propose the career of chemical engineering. After this, we have to train the educators so they know Mexican Sign Language. And we actually talked to Professor Dumar, who is the head of chemical engineering program, and he said that he would be glad to be part of this project, but due to his tight schedule, he would prepare to have these lessons in intensive periods such as summer or winter. And also we think that a person that would be perfect for us, that she could help us to make this project come true, is an Exateco, Laura Bustamante, who won the prize of Woman of the Year because she has a business that helps other businesses to be inclusive with deaf people.
And then after training our educators in Lenguas Mexicanas, then we can hopefully start with a pilot group and assess its success. While the educators are still learning sign language, it's important to hire interpreters so that the classes can be more fluent and easy to understand. And then lastly, if all goes well, then we can start expanding the program to other degree programs or in various fields. The promotion of inclusion through the incorporation of sign language into our campus culture is a practical solution to the challenges faced by the deaf community. Embracing inclusivity elevates our awareness, and also transforms our institution into a more compassionate, diverse, and empowered community.
With us having an inclusive campus, we are going to grow as human beings. We are going to experience new experiences with these new people in our campus, but also we're going to show the progress of us as a community and have a clear path through inclusion, well, towards inclusion.
The time has come to translate these words into action and work collaboratively to build a campus where all students, regardless of their hearing abilities, feel equally valued and empowered. By doing so, we can break down the barriers that have kept us apart and build a truly inclusive campus where every member is heard, welcomed, and celebrated. Thank you for your attention, and let us embark on this amazing new journey towards inclusion.
Wow, that was an impact story, don't you think, Andy?
Yes, of course. Undoubtedly, we need as a campus to change our normative so that any student can be part of our community. Thank you so much, girls. Please give them an applause.
Remember to leave your questions via internet or, well, to write them if you are in the public.
But now we will have another TED Talk from a student in mechatronics engineering.
Let's give a welcome to Diego.
Diego Flores.
Well, Diego is going to talk about the culture of peace and with an interesting perspective and a way to solve an very specific fact. We are going to let Diego explain himself in a couple of minutes. Diego.
with each other, would happen that people act without values and ethics. No, in 2022, there were 42,088 murders in Mexico, according to Statista's records. So this is like the statistics are really astonishing, because this talks about that it's quite bad because the society don't act with values and ethics, and this causes like a lot of people to be bad, and also that like the suffer like to suffer some people. And also I have these other statistics that says that in 2022 there were 26.8 million crimes, which represents a tax of 28,071 for every 100,000 inhabitants. So these records are quite astonishing also, and these also transmit us like how we are damaged as a society. Next one, please. And also, if people are don't aware about what they do, this can also happen, that people don't think before acting. So according to Dr. Robert Schwartz, 90% to 95% of the world's population doesn't know how to think properly. And also, according to CONAPRA, 40% to 60% of car accidents are related to alcohol usage, and the other 30% are related to distractors. So this is quite evident that people don't act before acting. So this is quite alarming, because if people don't think before acting, then these statistics will be shown along the countries, like in Latin, Europe, and all other countries. Next. So I want to put here like the positive way, like just to quit like the negative thinking. So I want you to imagine this: people acting with values and ethics. Well, according to BBC News, Singapore registered attacks of 0.2 murders for every 1,000 inhabitants, and a total of 11 deaths. So this is quite astonishing, as if it were an ideal society. So I want to transmit that as society we need to reach these statistics for in a future, like all the countries be as a Singapore, no? And also here, if people think before acting, well, according to the European Parliament in Sweden, just 18 deaths per million of inhabitants are due car accidents. So this is a quite low tax, and this talks about that people have the culture of preservation and civism, about thinking before acting, and just think before and just think like the actions and the consequences that may arise then if they do like things wrong. So what Bondaria is looking for? Well, we are looking for a better world, and a better and also to form a better people, and also to support with the support of the Humanitarian Center of Tec de Monterrey. And well, how to encourage people for being better and build a better world? Well, it's just clear, like the results are there, like with Singapore and like in Sweden, like the taxes of criminality, car accidents, and all other bad things are quite low. So I think that if we have like the focus, like a social focus for the good, for the common good, I think that this would be great as a society for to progress and to look for a better world. And well, we also are looking for with these action plans. Well, we have first here our mainstay, that is this question which says, I am affecting the other person, and if the answer is yes, well, you need to reconsider your action. But well, yes, like this is like the mainstay, like the reflexive main state for the people. And then we have here like to analyze role models, like analyze other countries with great civism and cultural value promotion, such as like Norway, Denmark, and Singapore or Japan. And also, like the third point is like to make suggestions and line of action. No, like in the courses that we are linked with the Humanitarian Center of the Technology of Monterrey. We are looking for like to go for these topics like self-knowledge and personal development, empathy and relationship, affecting communication responsibility, and the importance of patience, because sometimes a lot of people are not patient with other people, and that's why the violence arises. And also the fourth step is to evaluate. No, like it's like to have one paper and to answering these points like in a format that is like in a table, to answer in these points like of the comprehension of the situation, like all the data and all the context of the situation, and also then to identify your interest as well as the other part interest, and also to evaluate that is it negative or is it a positive impact, any other and also to evaluate any other alternative for solving the problem, and also to search for the equilibrium between parts, as well to like to search an advice from someone else you trust, like maybe can be your parents, your teacher, or another person that can give you this advice. And well, why is it viable? Well, this model is viable because it proposed like a great reflection between the people, like with these points and with this topic, is like a great gap. Well, like a great opportunity for the people to start reflecting and also to make conscious about this, like this topic that is affecting all the world. And yes, that's why it is viable. And well, just to conclude, I want to like to highlight the mainstays of this talk that are foster a culture of ethics and values, and also to look for how to make better people, like to make people be better each day with this plan of action, and also to make an invitation to be gentle and pacifist with the people that surround us. Because if we don't do this, we are not putting our grain of sand for making this change. So thank you very much.
Very much, Diego. I think that's a beautiful dream to see a world where all the people are good. And well, next we have
Next in the stage, we will have Diego Avila from Industrial Engineering, and he seeks on an improvement in the relationship and inclusion between communities. So please give him a warm welcome.
Hello, good morning. My name is Diego Sebastián, and today I'm going to present my proposal project from to take care in our school. Its name is Together in Harmony, Empowering Inclusion in the University. First of all, I want to talk to you about my history in the year and a half that I have been in school. Since I was in school, I have been listening to other guys like saying that people from communication that are studying communication, they are like not having like a good career, or something to related to the industrial engineers that they are like not really engineers. So this is what I am trying to talk to you about. Together in Harmony is going to be a viable program where I want to improve the relationship between the community of students. And in addition, it's going to implement healthy communication that promotes their respect and ability to listen to different problems of the students to generate different solutions. Well, There are two things that will happen if we don't try to improve this thing. First of all, we don't guarantee coexistence without stereotypes among them. I want to give you an example if we are living between stereotypes. I take a new from BBC News from one guy from Czech Republic that he posted in 2015, I think, where he posted a world map where he was giving stereotypes of different countries by giving a name that they are not. In here we can see Mexico, that is given a name of tacos, and if mentioning few of them, we can mention like Cuba, that was the country of I don't remember very, very well the name, but Colombia was the country of cocaine, and to mention few. Secondly, we will have a healthy communication that promotes respect, honesty, and the ability to listen to the problems between communities. Okay, so for this, I have a new from Levante, from a school in Spain, where the respectful increase, very grateful in 2018. Uh, Regarding to student, the respect increase, which from to the 6% to the 14%, and all the consequence of this respect have to be of the deterioration of mental health and teachers and professors. But now there are two things that will happen if we try to improve this. First of all, we are going to guarantee coexistence without stereotypes among them. Well, for this example that I have is that in 2018, a study in the United States told that the United Kingdom was the first country in Europe with a minor percent of uh, of prejudice, with a 15% of people that are prejudicing other guys. Maybe the 15% can there's the 15% of the people can tell us that it's a lot of people, but in compared to the United States has a 65% of people that are prejudicing immigrants and other race people. Secondly, we will have a healthy communication that promotes respect, honesty, and the ability to listen to the problems between communities and generate solutions. For this, I have an example from Forbes that says that John Rockefeller promotes like a guy to have a very good communication of a team, where it says that if you are having a team, you need to create a team and know all the like the advantages that you have in your team and the skills that your of the integrants of your team have. And for this, how we will achieve this? Well, in my first stage, I am promoting to make a convivence between the students communities here in the school. What I am trying to do is to make a group of different career students and try to make a project between them, so they can know like all the skills that they can have between them and all the great results that they can get. And in the stage two, I want to make an interdisciplinary mentoring program when we are going to have like an invitation to get some of students, making them to be mentors, and the mentors will have like making some talks to all the students and try to make them have a very nice conversation between them. And thank you very much. And that's all.
So much, Diego. Definitely, our differences should complement us between each other, not put us against with.
Now let's give an applause and introduce Emilio, who's gonna talk about the piece. But what about if the piece was needed to start with us? So let's give an applause to Emilio. He's an engineering in mechanics.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I want to tell you a story. When I was 16 years old, I was in my way to school, and I ran a little bit late because I didn't get up at the time I needed, and I didn't even have breakfast. So, as you could imagine, I was extremely angry. I was frustrated. As I was driving, I started driving really fast, and when I encountered traffic, I started driving recklessly. What this provoked is that for the only way that I could get in time to the school, I didn't want anyone joining my lane, and I started aventando lámina to everyone. So the problem here is that when I encounter a truck, I of course didn't let him through, and I almost crashed with it. The problem is that the next thing I remember is that he reached me and he started yelling at me because I was angry, because I was frustrated. I started reacting. I started swearing and telling him back all the things he was telling me. The problem here is he pulled a gun on me. He started aiming at me, and as that happened, I was extremely shocked. Fortunately, I managed to get him lost in the traffic, and I run really fast, and I got in school because I really live very close, so I could get into school, and everything was okay. But this is my story of why we need to have a healthy coexistence. I start living a life of peaceful in a peaceful environment. So the problem, as you know, everyone when we get up, we have to get into a certain type of transport to get to a certain activity of the day. So you know that just by driving, just by being in a car, 12.9 of just by being in a car, there are 12.9 deaths just by 100,000 people. So this means that just by aggressive driving, more than 50% of the deaths are just by aggressive driving. But of course, there is a solution. There's a solution to have a healthy coexistence. There's a solution to live in a peaceful environment. First, we need to know of some examples because it's easy to say, but we have to learn from some people or to have role models. Marie Kondo is a person who ideated the Kondo method. In her method, the organization is the way to change his life. Because in the way to change your life with organization, you feel less stress about the things you can control. Because if you control these certain aspects of your life, these certain little things, you could feel a little bit more in control. Another example is Nelson Mandela. Who is a Nobel Prize winner of peace. He uh, eliminated the apartheid from South Africa. And how did he do this? Well, first of all, he received a lot of threats and from the political or physical uh, angle. But instead of reacting this with violence and with vengeance, he decided that he would go for the peaceful approach. This provoked that South Africa managed to make a peaceful transition to a non-segregated country. Well, here's where the method levantarse con el pie derecho comes into the equation. So, this method has 3 steps. The step 0 is that you have to use the Kondo method to organize your clothes, to organize the things that you will do through the week. This step, you will do it in the weekend when you have time. So first you have to organize your clothes in a way that you have it prioritizing for the week. Your work clothes, your school clothes, then your sports wear, then your casual clothes, and then the less you use, the less. But another thing that is important is that you need to get rid of those clothes that fit you, that make you feel less of yourself. Those clothes that you say that sometimes someday I will use that, but because of you being not comfortable with it, you don't use them. Also, you have to obviously get rid of those clothes that you never use them. You don't have them just to remember or something, but you have also to get rid of those. Then the step one is to calculate the time you need to get up every morning to have a morning routine, to have a really tight or not tight schedule in which you have certain aspects calculated that you will do. So this means you have to calculate the time you make to work every day. This means you have to calculate the time you need to get breakfast, to get ready, to your personal hygiene, and you have to add to this time 45 minutes that we will use for our method. The method. Okay, so in this method, what we need is to understand that to have habits and to make them steam, there's plenty room for error. Nothing's perfect. You need to know that some days the things will not go as planned or as the way you wanted. In the first 30 minutes, you have to do a physical activity, something that connects your mind and body. It doesn't have to be extremely high aerobic activity. It just can be yoga, aerobics, or anything you want, but it has to be a physical and a mental activity. In the next 15 minutes, you will use 10 minutes to relax, to connect with your body, to think, what do my body needs? What do my mind needs? To connect and relax. For this, I recommend you the mindfulness method. This method will help you meditate in a more certain way, that if you don't know, maybe you think that I want to meditate, but I don't know how to start. I want to relax, but I don't know how to start. Mindfulness is a really good method. The other thing is that you have to download an app that it's called I Am. This app will give you a daily motivational message. That I know that sometimes if we are guys or some girls say that, well, I don't need motivational message to get through the day. But even if you don't want it, this message sticks in your mind, in your subconscious, and it may be the little push you need to get through the day. And the step 3 is, with a whiteboard, you have to make a schedule. You have to make a list of the activities that you will do through the day. And as the activities are made, you have to check them in a list, because this way you will make a right schedule and you make habits of discipline. Well, that's all. Thank you for listening. That's all.
Thank you very much, Emilio, for that explanation. It's obviously so thoughtful and so important to autocontrol yourself. Well, now we are going to present Emilio. He's an engineer in biotechnology, and sorry, Ariel, sorry, and he's going to talk about, well, how to autocontrol yourself. So let's.
Good morning. I may want to start with the following data. By the end of this conversation, 15 people will have taken their lives in this world. 15 people. One people takes their life every 40 seconds in the world. So 60% of them are accounted for depression, loneliness, and lack of self-knowledge. What can we do about it? But perhaps we're going nationally, or we're talking about the world. If we go in Mexico, unfortunately, Mexico is the #1 country, or the ranks #1 in bullying worldwide. And I will want to ask you, have you ever been victim of bullying? Or perhaps, have you ever been the bully? I was once a bully in 3rd grade of elementary school, and I really regret it. But the most shocking data about this thing I have just said is that in Mexico City, 1 of every 6 people end up taking on of their life just for bullying. So perhaps I am giving you a lot of sad data, but you are going to see how this all comes up. Changing about the mood, I may want to tell you this idea. A study was conducted by the British Medical Journal, and they have determined that those elderly people who experience once or twice an artistical experience in the year have a 14% more lifespan. But perhaps you can say a longer lifespan accounts for a better health, a better better like exercise habits, or perhaps the way you eat, but also art, also artistic activities, because according to these scientists, they have an improved emotional health, they have a better mental health, because as we all know, humans are social beings. And by being deprived of our very own nature, being behind a screen through a laptop, we just lived that through 3 years ago during the COVID pandemic. We denied our very existence of social interaction between other people. And by doing so, we are neglecting our very own nature. So this was conducted to 15,000 elderly people, and all of them, as you may see, had those who frequently engage with people had a longer lifespan. But this is like happiness brought by social interaction. Or perhaps I may also want to say, staying in Europe, the prison system. Norway had a criminal system just like every other part of the world. They punished criminals for for committing robbery or any other type of crime. And I may want to tell you the following statistic. In the 1970s, where Norway was just as the same of the world, 70% of those criminals committed a crime again in the following next 2 years. And Norway wanted to take a different approach. Perhaps if we treat them more humanely, if we gave them carpentry workshops, art workshops, cultivate their own humanity within the prison, they may become better human beings after that. And indeed, they did. In 2022, we have these following statistics. That 70% who committed crimes in the next 2 years plummeted to a 20%. So that means 1 out of every 5 criminals didn't appropriately reinserted to society, but 4 of them did. And I want to ask you, which is the common denominator of all of these situations? Human dignity was respected. And what is dignity? Is the value we all have for just being human beings. Dignity is the way, our key, in order to solve the first problems I have told you first. Perhaps of those 15 people, 12, 13, the main purpose is to lower that number. And how can we do it? By Modelarte. Modelarte is a proposal I have for here, tech students, to promote self-esteem, to promote social engaging, to promote the way you respect someone else's dignity. And this I have proposed in 2 different sections. First of all, Art Oasis, where imagination meets interpretation. I may want you to take a time for yourself and which kind of emotions evoke you this picture. In art, there are no correct answers. In arts, everything is a correct answer. It's the way you interpret the painter's emotions to you. Art is a universal language. When words are missing, art comes through. And not only you understand yourself, you empathize with the artist. You learn to engage with other people. And perhaps by making a social interaction, TechSem has the biggest art reservoir in all techs nationally. And what are we doing about it? Nothing. Perhaps if those art, instead of being kept safe somewhere else, why can't we display them at the Siqueiros Aula? And once or twice a semester, an expert gives interpretation, social context of the artist. What was the artist living in that moment? And we all gathered and interpret that painting. We all learn to hear someone else's opinion and we together come up with a solution. That's how we promote social engaging. That's our first proposal. Who is going to take care of this? The Escuela de Arte of Diseño, Centro de Dignidad Humana. We can create synergy between these institutions in order to make this come true. And we already have the Aula Siqueiros. Art is a way in which we put on a mask and our feelings are just easier to express. Try writing a letter about yourself, about how you feel. It may feel odd, but if you paint something, it's easier to express your feelings. The second proposal is sculpting life, self-discovery through expression. And by meaning this, I would also like you to think, I give you a bowl of clay, simple clay. Imagine an object you would like to do, anything. Just imagine it. Imagine the colors, the design. Are you going to use red, white, flowers? Do you have your object already in mind? Then I'm going to ask you, why did you do that? Perhaps this was my, my cow. Why have I done a cow? Why those colors? There's a psychology behind this object that tells something about our inner selves. There are 4 stages of how we know. The things that you and I know of myself. The things that I know of myself, but you don't. The things that you know of myself and I don't. But what I try to open is this last window, the things that I don't know of myself and neither do you. By exploring the back of our self-conscious, we can release emotions we didn't know we have. Perhaps we are in a bad mood, but why? This object, through the help of psychologists at Here Tech, can help us to rediscover ourselves, to feel or to truly know what our inner selves are trying to say to us. That's how we promote self-awareness. And all it just takes is a simple bowl of clay and paint. This can be done as a live activity or express workshop, 2-3 hours one day. It's not hard. It's easy to develop, and we already have the place. Aulas 4, we have labs there. And if you see it, it's just clay and tables waiting for us. I may want to give closure to this conversation with this quote. Art enables us to find ourselves, but it also helps us to lose ourselves at the same time. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Ariel, for those beautiful words. And we really hope that you can have your project going soon. But now, finishing the first block of our TED Talks, we would have some questions for our expositors. So please come to the stage so we can start the question section. Also, if you, the public, have... Okay. So if our online viewers want to give us some questions, we are live on YouTube and Facebook. So first of all, Emilio, can you give us more details of the Marie Kondo method and how it helps?
It's a method in which you organize all the things. It can be applied to all the stuff of your house, not only your clothes. It can be a part of your kitchen, a part of your closet, everything. And well, it helps you improve your time, improves your productivity, and it'll help you feel less stressed because you have to stay looking for much time because you know where things are and you know where everything is. Thanks.
Give him an applause. Thank you. Okay. The question of the public, please.
Yeah. Well, my question is for Ariel. I have two questions. Like the first one, do you have like example of a famous piece of art that shows dignity? And the second is like how people like me that it's not a fan of art can show my dignity through the art. How can I explore that area?
Thank you. I'm going to answer the first question, and then you may repeat the second. because
Yeah.
answering the first one, most of the pictures focus on three topics: life, death, or love, but also dignity, and can be seen through photography. I don't know if you may come to see this photography where there's a child naked and war is happening behind. If you don't, just look at Vietnam child photography, and you may see the purest form of human dignity taken. Or, yes, a naked child, innocence, and the war, all the interests behind those people. That's an example of dignity in art. And it's just the first one that comes to my mind, but there are a lot of more.
Okay, thank you. And the second one is how people like me, like it's not a huge fan of art. How can my dignity show by the art? Like it's not my area to like. How I can like this painting, taller, this painting can show my dignity and if I am not a huge fan of art.
I think we are all fans of art, but perhaps not just paintings, because we have 7 different arts. We have cinema, photo, music, movies. One of those you may come to like, and we can approach it through there.
Thank you.
Okay, the next question is actually for you also. How do you plan to encourage the school community to participate in Modelarte?
I plan this to make it like a free entry. Most of the time, people don't enter because, oh, it has some cost, or I have to make an inscription before. Those are like the main gates or that block people from first entering. So if we make a grant admission at first, everyone can enter, just experience this activity, try it, and if you like it, you are really going to commit to this test. But this first engagement has to be done like big. It has to be a grand event, for example, through mentores. Let them know. All of first semesters have mi plan de vida en el TEC, so we can make it as a homework. Just go and experience at least once this workshop, and if you seem to like it, then you are going to engage.
Thank you very much.
Now for Diego, do you think that Nadia can do a great change? Diego Flores.
Well, yes, because it is a change that will be like in phases, like not just in this generation will be the change. So I trust that along the generation, the change will be seen. Thank you.
For Wendy and Anna, how do you plan on taking the inclusivity on campus for all the community to see the flaws that we have as a community here in Tech? How do you plan to ¿cómo planean que la comunidad se dé cuenta que en realidad no somos una comunidad 100% inclusiva y que se den cuenta de que hay otras realidades fuera de la que nosotros conocemos actualmente?
Pues para empezar, o sea, sería más bien como cuestión de justamente darnos cuenta, voltear hacia un error y poder hacer tal vez una encuesta, por ejemplo, entre nosotros cuántos, o sea, aquí mismo se las hago, ¿cuántas personas saben hablar lengua de señas mexicana? Tenemos una de que somos más o menos 20. Entonces, desde ahí podemos como demostrar que no somos un campus inclusivo y eso es una pequeña sala. Y pues, en pocas palabras, o sea, desde el momento en que no sabemos cómo comunicarnos con estas personas, luego las estamos excluyendo y privando de una vida pues normal.
Give her applause. Ariel, again. How would you encourage people who are currently prone to social problems to become interested in art?
Oh, that's a good question. Because once you have a people or someone who is socially or who socially prefers to stay at home, it's hard for someone to rescue them from there. But perhaps what we can do is to make them socially engaged with art. We have this mentor, we have the mentores at Tech. No, it's harder. It's a good question. Let me think about it. But but just to give you like a trivial answer, it's more complex than that. So let me think of it.
Well, my question is for Wendy and Sofia. What will be a major obstacle when implementing sign languages classes?
Well, I think the main obstacle will be, starting a group so that deaf people can, enter the group. Like finding the deaf people that want to like actually enter the classes, because as Sophia mentioned before, there are not very that much opportunity for deaf people to access education. So it's gonna be hard, to start with a pilot group. But that's why we also wanted to present this idea, because it's very important that the Centro de Dignidad Humana and the director Raquel Duran know that these inequalities and difficulties exist, and that we already are excluding this group from our campus. So it's very important to start, having these new ideas and encouraging deaf people to enter and to continue their education so that they can make a difference in our world.
Okay, for Diego Ávila, I'm going to say it in Spanish. ¿Cómo se te ocurrió llegar a esa propuesta? O sea, ¿cuál fue el proceso?
Bueno, o sea, la propuesta la hice ya que me había dado cuenta, digamos, en el cierto tiempo que había estado aquí en la escuela, que había como diferencias entre las diferentes carreras que tenemos, en donde, por ejemplo, habían comentarios como que los de ingeniería industrial eran como ingenieros de papel, o que los de comunicación en verdad como que no trabajan y cosas así. Entonces, lo que yo trataba de hacer como propuesta era que la convivencia fuera entre diferentes carreras haciendo un proyecto entre ellos mismos, para que ellos mismos fueran como haciendo conciencia sobre las ventajas que tienen en trabajar trabajando entre todos. Entonces eso era todo.
We have finished with the questions. Sorry,
Yes, I have already the answer for whomever did it. Voy a responder en expresarme así. Para las personas que son o tienen dificultad con cuestiones sociales, son casos muy puntuales. O sea, nosotros tenemos que detectarlos desde antes y sería muy complicado que un taller como este hiciera un análisis de cada una de las personas. Entonces, lo que se puede hacer, o sea, ¿qué puede hacer Modelarte por esas personas? Es hacer un programa de vinculación como lo de amigos referidos. Nosotros, los que estamos ya en ese taller, pues conocemos a la gente que nos rodea y entonces darle la oportunidad a la persona, invitarla dentro de su comodidad, porque puede que luego llegue a incomodarle esta invitación, pero externársela y hacerle sentir que está en un espacio seguro para poderse expresar. Es más que nada lo que podemos hacer.
Well, now we have finished with the questions. Thank you very much. You can take a seat.
Well, now we continue with the TED Talks. And continuing with our session, we have Katia Alcantara from the engineering school, from mechanical engineering, and she will give us an approach of how to identify and deal with violence. So please give her a warm welcome.
One day during pandemic, I was searching on Netflix what to watch. And I discovered this series called 13 Reasons Why. Have you seen it? Yeah? Okay, so some of you know what it's about. It's about a girl named Hannah that commits suicide due to bullying. Finishing watching this series, I start thinking, what will happen to Hannah if she identified the violence her friends was making to her? If she had spoken on time, with her parents or with someone on school. And here is when the idea invisible violence born. My name is Katia Alcántara, and today I will teach you how to identify and address violence. Nowadays, kids play with violence, either with jokes, with rough games. I don't know if you know the game like you put in your shoulder that attach and then you hit. They are games that they make difficult to identify when this game cross the line of game and become an aggression. And you will question why identifying violence is important. Well, according to the Health World Organization, 700 million people commit suicide annually around the world. And let's go to another statistic. In 2019, suicide was the fourth cause of death in the group age of 15 and 29 years old. Another problem of not identifying this is the drug and alcohol consuming. Dr. Einstein Kurr, the director of the Department of Prevention of Violence, said that violence victims confronted traumatic experiences with risk behaviors such as consume of drugs, alcohol, and other ones. Now, I want to tell you what will happen if you identify the violence. And for this, I want to introduce you Alexa Moreno. Do you know him? Her? Yeah, okay. Alexa Moreno is a Mexican gymnast that today is the winner of the Gymnastic World Cup of 2023. But this wasn't easy for her. She was bullied because of her appearance, physical appearance, in the Olympic Games of Rio in 2016. But with help of her coach, help of identifying the problem, and knowing her abilities and potential she has, she is now the best gymnast of Mexico. Okay. At this point, I have told you why it's important to identify bullying, why it's important to identify violence, and why not. But I haven't told you how to identify it, how to address this. And here is 2 tips that will help you to fight bullying. Well, this program, Invisible Violence, help you to increase your mental health and to guarantee to you how to talk about these topics. The first step of this program is making an emotion chart. This emotion chart will give you the knowledge of your limits. And how do I do this? First of all, you have to be conscious about the situation you're living in your day that make you feel bad. Then, when you go home, you will make this chart with these columns. What situation made me feel bad? what feeling I felt, how did I act in this situation, and what can I do if this happen again. This will help you to identify, to address, to know what are you feeling, and to know how to manage these feelings and how, and in some point how to talk to them. Now, the second step: when and how and who. Sorry, when and who. I will start with the who. The best person you want, I can recommend you to reach out is to your network support. Here in Tech, we have a lot of network support. We have Bienestar Estudiantil, we have the Centro de Dignidad, we also have a professor you trust. But I know that talking to an adult about this situation is difficult. As a kid, going to an adult and say, hi, I'm being bullied, is difficult. So it's okay if you go with a friend and ask her or she, ask her or him if he can accompany you, if he can be a support to you to ask help to an adult. Then the when. This is difficult to know when is the correct time to ask help, but it's when you feel comfortable and ready to talk about this. I recommend that this point occurs before the aggressions and this situation surpass your limits and your integrity is on danger. And well, this program are like the two steps for start knowing when you are being violent. I want to conclude this talk with a reflection. I know that it's difficult to be in a situation where your integrity and your mental health is in danger. I know it's difficult to accept it. I know it's difficult to talk about it. And I know it because when I was like 10 years old, I was bullied. So yes, I know that is difficult, but it's not, staying in that situation is not an option. So remember, overcoming abuse doesn't just happen. It takes positive steps every day. Let today be the day you start to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Katia. That was so emotional, and you are totally right. We have to learn how to ask for help.
Now, from business school major in finance, we welcome Braulio Gonzalez, who will talk about how to foster collaboration and project between communities.
Okay, hello, good afternoon. My name is Braulio Gonzalez Aranda, and I'm going to show you my proposal, Innovate It, Win My Community. We have all have listened to any stereotype of any field of study. Personally, I used to hold certain stereotypes of creative studies, such as that they don't do anything and that the subjects they have are very easy. It wasn't until that period I truly realized how different creative studies are from all the other fields of study, because I took my exploration course. In this course, in the first week, I was like, come on, easy peasy. In the second week of this course, I was like, I don't understand anything. Basically, because for me and my skills, it was really difficult to understand all creative processes and studies. That's why it was really difficult for me, the creative studies. But thankfully, the project of this subject was in teams. So I was able to rely on my teammates and ask them for help in the topics that I didn't understand. And you may be wondering, well, how did you help your team then? Well, basically, in the beginning, we had a lot of disorganization. Our team was in absolutely disorganization. Even the teachers told us that they had little hope in our project. So that's when I realized that I could use my team management and business skills into this project. So I started to define the deadlines, defining objectives, defining daily tasks, and I even assigned roles in the team. My creative teammates were the ones who create all the creative part, and in the end, we nailed it. We created such a great job that even impressed our teachers. And this experience made me think a lot. To begin with, now I understand that all the stereotypes of creative studies are wrong. It's not as easy as they say. And also, this experience made me think a lot because imagine how our communities, our student communities can merge their skills to create such great projects. That's why Innovated with my community is a viable solution to encourage collaboration and project development between areas of study, without students falling into stereotypes as it teaches them to add different skills and talents to the development of a project. Likewise, it will eliminate the stereotype that students have of all the other study fields. But what happens if we don't clarify the stereotypes that we have? Well, according to El Economista, nowadays the majority of students are going to study a career related to STEM, science, technology, economics, and mathematics. This is not bad at all, but let's imagine this case. I used to have a cousin, well, I have a cousin that wanted to study design, but the stereotypes that we had in the family of design didn't allow my cousin to study design, so he better decided to study, I think he studied engineering, but by the year he decided, you know what, I don't understand anything, my skills are not for this, so he go back to design. That's what happens if we don't teach how to clarify our stereotypes. And also, I made a queue. I asked 100 students in the campus about their feelings of what they thought the stereotypes were in the campus. The majority answered that they may be, or there are some stereotypes related to their careers. And here are some examples that they gave me. I mean, this one. I have heard it since I was in middle school. So another important factor is that according to Museo de Tolerancia, all stereotypes are passed through generations. And this specifically stereotype proves that the stereotypes in the campus have passed through generations. And now, what happens if we teach to clarify our stereotypes? Well, according to Josh Barr, all the stereotypes can be fought back with facts. And in addition to this, there was a study called Reducing Implicit Racial Preference, Intervention Effectiveness Across Time. In this study, some people with a lot of stereotypes in certain communities were not forced, but mainly forced to interact and live experiences with the communities that they had experienced, that it had stereotypes. And within 2 weeks or 3, their minds were completely changed. All the stereotypes they have of the communities only by living with them were completely gone. Facts destroy stereotypes. That's why, how will innovating with my community encourage interaction between study areas and decrease stereotypes? Well, innovating with my community consists of 4 stages. The first one is forming interdisciplinary teams. But why interdisciplinary teams? Well, it is pretty important to have interdisciplinary teams to create these experiences of different communities living an experience. And how we will manage this? We will ask the help of the tutors of each community student to make this activity part of the passport that we students need to fill each semester to make it more attractive to all the students to participate in this project. The second stage, awareness. According to John Kabat-Zinn, if we increase awareness, changes in our lives will come automatically. That's the importance of awareness. And with the help of Centro de Dignidad Humana, we will ask them to provide us at least 2 conferences of stereotypes and unconscious base. This must be in the first week of the period in order for our students to have time to assist to this conference. The most important stage, innovating with a community. Innovating with a community is a project that consists basically in improving a part of the campus. It may be a classroom, the green areas, or even I would like to improve the parking lots that you have in the campus. The teams must develop a project focused on each area of the students that participate in the team. For example, business needs to develop the budget. Creative studies, for example, a prototype, the design, engineering also a prototype, etc. The project really needs to be focused on each community to show that all the students merge their abilities. And finally, the dissemination of the project. All the projects will be displayed and disseminated in all the social media of the campus or even in infographics in the classrooms. The idea of the dissemination is to make more conscious that this project is really, it's a really good experience for students to have. Not only like, okay, I need to fill my passport, I'm going to choose this experience. No, we can create such great projects by participating within each other's. Our skills and abilities can be merged into projects that could really help us to improve our campus or even improve ourselves. Basically, the experience that I had made me reflect a lot. I didn't thought that business and creative studies could merge and create a project until the course that I took last period. So, with innovating with our community, we can all students help to reduce the stereotypes that we have within our careers. We can stop them. It's really motivating for me to hear people saying that business are going to end as godines. So that's why it's important to stop stereotypes. Innovating with the community will help our campus and even improve it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Braulio, for your inspiring words. We would definitely improve as a community if instead of fighting among us, we improve an environment of peace where everyone puts a little part of wisdom into the community.
Okay, now let's welcome Arturo. He's going to propose something new. Commonly, video games are tell that violence, well, they show violence, but what if it's not the case? So let's welcome Arturo.
Thank you so much. Well, always video games are presented to us like some type of entertainment that can cause only bad things, such as laziness, leisure, or violence. But no, today I want you to imagine a new world, a world where technology and collaborations meets together. Okay, a world where education and technology meets in a single narrative to make this a new world. Okay, so for example, let me see. This is our project. Jugando por la Armonía, it's a project to promote society learning to resolve conflicts through the collaboration between everyone. How are we going to do this? Okay, let me see. First of all, I want you to think about what happens if society never learns how to collaborate to resolve a conflict. We have plenty of examples in our world. Our current world gives us a lot of shocking examples. We can see here, for example, narco trafficking in Mexico are taking a lot of lives and is breaking havoc around the world. Then the ongoing crisis in Venezuela is a crisis that has affected a lot of, and it remains unresolved. Then the Israel and Palestine conflict, of course, uh, um, it seems that has no end. Obviously, we in the recent days we have been seeing a lot, dozens and dozens of news about this conflict, and also the conflict in Ukraine. The war is persistent in that region. But now I want you to think what happens if society learns to collaborate together to resolve conflicts. There are plenty of examples also. We can look, for example, at the development of COVID-19 vaccines, where a lot of scientists from all around the world join forces to join forces to resolve the global pandemic, saving also 140,000 lives just in the United States alone. We can look also at the Human Genome Project, which was a massive collaboration between scientists of biologists, mathematicians, computer scientists, and this helps us to comprehend in a better way the biology of the human. And also the creation of the World Wide Web, which was has managed to connect a lot of people around the world and making information more accessible to all the people. So, before we get into my proposal, I want you to tell you why video games are one of the best options to one of the best options to make students how to collaborate together. First of all, video games have the factor of immersion. Since you are the one who embodies the character of the video game, you are the one who are going to feel his achievements, his setbacks, his failures. So any kind of idea that the video game is trying to convey to us is going to be much more powerful, just because it will be easier to us to empathize with the idea. And this brings me to the second point, that is emotion. Video games can generate emotion. And we have to remember that emotion is the key in learning and memory processes, because emotion have a powerful impact, such as in memory, in learning, in how it's easier to well, learnings are more memorable if it is an emotion linked to that learning. And finally, the practical application. Obviously, video games can give us can develop a wide range of skills that can be applied in our daily life, such from conflict resolution to collaboration and empathize. So now going into my proposal, is going to be divided into two stages. These two stages will be basically the same, just with different focuses, each one. The first one is called level 1, individual talent, and the second one, level 2, forging learning alliances. Second one. Let's go with the first stage. Level 1, individual talent. We will be focusing on on exploiting the abilities of an individual. First, we have to take into account human resources, which will be a team of educators and designers And their task is going to be that they will find specific topics, and with these specific topics, specific video games that can help us to educate the students for comprehend in the better in best way the topic. Then the logic and process. The process begins with, well, we will have to spend a lot of time and researching and searching video games that can approach our topics in an effective way. Also, it has to be a video game with a solid narrative, for example. And finally, success indicators. Well, success indicator of this stage can be the number of people that is the number of people that is interested in assist to the activities of the center. For example, if today we have an activity, a talk, um, and only 10 people assist to that activity, with video games, with this approach, we expect up that number to, for example, 20 people. And the time this um, can be well done in an academic semester, essentially on the first weeks of the semester of En Semana Te Queremos, for example. And also, I have a video game here, for example, of this stage. It's called Greece. Greece is a beautiful game. This video game encourages the players to explore their inner worlds. So this, well, although this game does not contain any dialogues or text, it can be very powerful by it is very powerful, the message, by aesthetics, sounds, and obviously the gameplay. So, yes. And the second phase is just the same. The human resources and materials are just the same. The only one thing that will change is the logic and process, because we are going to be more focused on collaborative talents. So the logic and processes, well, we have to make collaborative groups where these students will be sharing our experiences and learnings. So it will be like a space to dive into our experience, lesson learners, and things like that. Also, the time can be also well done in academic semester. And finally, the example I brought to here is the video game Never Alone. This video game is about a girl and her actor fox. And it's, well, the interesting thing about this video game is that, for example, it encourages the players to collaborate together, because each one, the girl and the fox, have unique abilities to pass puzzles and obstacles. So yes, this encourages collaborative work. And finally, well, we have to. Okay, I want you to take all that you have learned in this talk and to, well, to apply it to our life. Just play video games. Remember that in video games, game over is not a game over. It's not the end. It's just a new beginning. Just likewise in our lives, difficulties and obstacles are not are an opportunity to come forward and to learn. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arturo. So now we have our next couple. No, individual talk. Sorry.
Sorry. From the engineering school, from the major of mechatronics, we welcome Galad Selman. He would give us a talk with a different approach to the digital platforms and how to deal with violence in these internet platforms.
Thank you.
Imagine that you live in a country divided by political ideologies. In social media, there is a constant presence of heated debates, often aggressive discussions, and endless insults between the different factions. Every political post becomes a brutal battle where words turn into weapons and emotions run wild. The divisions deepen, and an atmosphere arises where you start to feel afraid, uncomfortable, and trapped, not knowing how to deal with the situation. Over time, you start to notice that this confrontation has spread beyond the groups, with users taking sides and increasing the tension. Additionally, you realize that some malicious members are using shared information to start harassing others or even steal valuable information. But of course, this is only one of the many problematic situations that arises in social media. And it highlights the importance of addressing the problems in a proper way in this environment. Of course, you might be more related. Of course, you might be more related with disputes regarding the new Taylor Swift album or if it's better than the last one. Believe me, I've heard some frightening stories. But no matter if you're a passionate fan or a political party follower, it is important to know and to understand how to overcome these problematic situations. In my talk today, we will explore how we can build a culture of peace and promote a peaceful conflict resolution in our digital interactions with constructive dialogue. The constructive dialogue is a strategy that is a viable solution to avoid conflicts on digital platforms, as it encourages nonviolent communication and empathetic listening. At the same time, it helps to establish an environment of trust and mutual understanding. First of all, let's talk about what happens if we do not avoid conflicts in digital platforms. According to the World Health Organization, prevalence of mental health problems is increasing at a rate of 13% per year. But what does this have to do with our topic? Well, according to a study published in the Journal of Technology and Behavioral Science, anxiety and depression are the most common mental health issues affecting 280 people worldwide, with depression and anxiety being the most common in online spaces. Negative comments and accusations can impact someone's self-esteem and lower their confidence level. At the same time, or additionally, continuous exposure to online conflicts can contribute to depression and raise anxiety in a person. Also, in the digital age, our interactions in social media can expose us to several security risks. Discussions and conflicts that are not resolved in a proper way can create an unfavorable environment where hackers and cybercriminals can take advantage, leaving sensitive and personal information exposed, such as addresses, phone numbers, bank data, without being aware of the implications and dangers that this entails. According to El País, Mexico is on the list of the 10 countries with the most cases of cybercrimes in the world. And taking data from the cyber company Surfshark, 801 internet users were victims of cybercrimes worldwide in 2022, with bank fraud and identity theft being the most common. But it is not only bad news. Currently, in the digital platforms have transformed the way that we communicate and learn. When used correctly and without entering into conflicts, they become powerful tools for personal and professional development. Thus, digital platforms become allies for continuous learning and promotion of effective communication in a globalized society. But how do we actually avoid these conflicts and achieve a culture of peace? You might want to listen really close. If the problem originates in digital platforms and in social media, pick up your phone, turn it off, and flush it down the toilet. Thanks very much for attention. It's been a pleasure to... Oh, no. Sorry. I still have 4 minutes left. I know. The idea of throwing away your lifetime savings spent on the brand new iPhone was great, but there is actually an alternative that will not contaminate the oceans,
And you just guessed it, constructive dialogue. Constructive dialogue is a strategy that is based on respectful, empathetic, and open communication to address conflicts in a peaceful way. And the key steps to carry out the constructive dialogue techniques are the practice of empathy and active listening. Try to put yourself in the other's shoes and try to understand their perspective before responding in a digital environment. Use respectful and clear language. Avoid the usage of aggressive or offensive language and seek to express yourself clearly to avoid misunderstandings. Give the benefit of the doubt. Try to give the benefit of the doubt instead of assuming the worst, and give them the opportunity to explain their points of view before jumping into conclusions. Avoid the escalation of conflicts, search for joint solutions, and try to imagine, and well, last but not least, try to imagine that you are face to face with other users. It is more difficult to get into a conflict when you are face to face with a person than when you are behind the screen without awareness of the dangerous situations that you may be running or the actual emotions and interactions of the other person. It also helps for you to imagine that you are in a crowded area or a social space. People, or at least most people, tend to avoid the escalation of conflicts when they are in a public area. So, to wrap things up, we can say that in the age of digital communication, the way that we relate to each other has undergone a significant transformation. While digital technology has provided us with countless benefits in regards of global connection and access to information, it has also presented some challenges and obstacles in the achievement of peace. Digitalization can lead to dehumanization, as direct contact is often lost in favor of impersonal contact through the screens. Also, social media can generate misunderstandings, hate speech, and online conflicts that makes it difficult to achieve a culture of peace. So, in conclusion, avoiding conflicts in digital platforms is essential to promote a culture of peace in our society. By avoiding fragmentation, the emotional damage, and by fostering a safe space and environment, we can improve the way to relate to each other online. So I invite you to reflect on your actions in the digital world and to commit to being part of the change. And I would like to finish with a quote by Simon Mainwaring that says, "We need to be mindful of how we use technology, as it can either bring us closer together or push us further apart." And now it's official. Thanks very much for attention.
Thank you so much. We definitely have plenty of things to carry out at home to reflection our actions when using online platforms.
Okay, now for last but no less important, our next our next participant is Tanya, and she's going to talk about how it's important to cultivate our inner peace. Let's give her an applause.
6 months ago, I was in my bed crying. I remember it was a rainy day. It had just passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 6 months ago, I was in my bed crying. I remember it was a rainy day. It had just passed 1 week from my It had just passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years, 4 years where I have been really happy. 4 years. It had just passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years where I have been really happy. It just ended in a blink of an eye. And my head was still a mental chaos. I remember it was a rainy day. It had only passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years where I was very happy. It just ended in a blink of an eye. And my head was still a mental chaos. I remember it was a rainy day. It had only passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years where I was very happy. It just ended in a blink of an eye. And my head was still a mental chaos. I remember it was a rainy day. It had only passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years where I was very happy. It just ended in a blink of an eye. And my head was still a mental chaos. I remember it was a rainy day. It had only passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years where I was very happy. It just ended in a blink of an eye. And my head was still a mental chaos. I remember it was a rainy day. It had only passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years where I was very happy. It just ended in a blink of an eye. And my head was still a mental chaos. I remember it was a rainy day. It had only passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years where I was very happy. It just ended in a blink of an eye. And my head was still a mental chaos. I remember it was a rainy day. It had only passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years where I was very happy. It just ended in a blink of an eye. And my head was still a mental chaos. I remember it was a rainy day. It had only passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years where I was very happy. It just ended in a blink of an eye. And my head was still a mental chaos. I remember it was a rainy day. It had only passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years where I was very happy. It just ended in a blink of an eye. And my head was still a mental chaos. I remember it was a rainy day. 6 months ago, I was in my bed crying. I remember it was a rainy day. It has only passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years. 6 months ago, I was in my bed crying. I remember it was a rainy day. It has only passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years where I was very happy. It just ended in a blink of an eye. And my head was still a mental chaos. I remember it was a rainy day. It had only passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years where I was very happy. It just ended in a blink of an eye. And my head was still a mental chaos. I remember it was a rainy day. It had only passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years where I was very happy. It just ended in a blink of an eye. And my head was still a mental chaos. I remember it was a rainy day. It had only passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years where I was very happy. It just ended in a blink of an eye. And my head was still a mental chaos. Okay. 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I was in my bed crying. Six months ago, I was in my bed crying. I remember it was a rainy day. It had only passed 1 week from my 21st birthday. 4 years, 4 years where I was very happy. It just ended in a blink of an eye. And my head was still a mental chaos. I remember it was a Sunday, and I wanted to try new activities. So I rolled out of my bed to sign to painting, knitting, dressmaking, and cycling classes. Now I can tell that ending that relationship was the best thing that could happen to me because I learned a lot about myself. I grow, and also I learned a lot about of life. I had to get out of my comfort zone to find the inner peace I needed. In our stressful life, finding inner peace has become essential. We have to take a vital breath. So, a journey towards serenity is a viable solution to cultivate inner peace, as it offers effective techniques to take care of our mental and emotional health. Also, it offers alternatives to enrich the relationship with other people. In 2019, the World Health Organization said that 1 in 8 people suffer from a mental disorder, being the most common anxiety and depression. This is equal to 3,000, no, 970 million people. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, it increased by 28%. So what happens if I don't cultivate inner peace and take care of my mental and emotional health? Well, your quality of life will be affected because the relationship from work and partners will be affected, and also your personal satisfactions. Physical health also will be affected because you can have more heart problems, diabetes, and gastrointestinal disorders. Difficult relationship, conflicts in personal and work relationships, that this can cause isolation. Risk of addictions. It is easy to fall and to try to cope with drugs or alcohol, your problems. Decision making. You will have a cloud judgment of what you're trying to take a decision. Another study that was made in 2010, and there were 309,000 people, it led that strong relationships, that if you don't have strong relationships, it can increase the cost of premature death by 50%. So if you cannot enrich a healthy relationship, your inner peace is affected, and also your mental health, because you can have toxic and abusive relationships. Your physical health is affected because stress levels increase, and also many diseases. Your personal development, because it will stop your personal growth and self-development. Social isolation, because you will distance from friends and family. And future relationships, because you can perceive and relate to future relationships that are toxic. Well, my first successful case from mental and emotional case is Carlos Alcaraz. He is a young champion US Open, a world famous tennis player, and his name resembles among Rafael Nadal. And he says that the key for success is the importance of taking care of their mental and emotional health, and this enhances his performance. For healthy relationships, I will talk about Kaya and Poche. They are two YouTubers, and they have been together for 8 years long. But when they have any problem, they try to take their own space, and also they like to explore by themselves new projects, activities, and have their personal goals. I will tell you 4 easy steps to take care of your mental and emotional health. The first one is keep your mind busy. It is really easy to go and make activities that make you feel good. The second one is communication. It can be with your friends, family, or even go to therapy. Third, set objectives or goals. Goals that can be achieved are set daily, and you have to establish priorities. The first one is physical exercise. Physical exercise can improve your mood and how you feel about yourself. And 5 easy steps to enrich the relationship with other people. The first one is love yourself. You have to love yourself and be comfortable with yourself to be with others. Communicate. Communicate, ask questions, and listen. Also, establish your limits. Be honest. Honestly builds trust. Accept that you disagree. You don't always have to see the things the same way as others, but you have to respect the opinions and ideas. Forgive and ask for forgiveness. Everyone makes mistakes, right? So apologize for your faults and accept others' apologies. Okay, let me leave you with this thought. Peace, personal and global, is not a passive state. It's an active choice that you make every day. As we embark in this journey, in this individual journey to find inner peace, let's remember that our personal transformation will grow out in the world. And last, I would like to leave you with this phrase that nothing can bring you peace but yourself, from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Thank you.
Well, with that, we finish our journey of peace. However, the passion and dedication we have witnessed from our young speakers is unbelievable.
Well, get with us on Thursday because we are going to open a new blog. It's violence, gender violence, in the same channel, same place.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.